It's a Conspiracy is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. For other fun programming, please check out the albertapodcastnetwork.com, where you can find shows like
For Kicks.
Yeah.
Hey. Get kicky.
What kind of beer you got? Oh, you're drinking some more of your stick bent.
I have one more full flat of stick bent. One more. I'm on my final flat.
You don't say. Well, I could probably take those off your hands if you really wanted to get rid of them.
That's just some dead weight. No, I need it.
Yeah. You don't need a flat of beer. What are you gonna do with that? Come on,
Almost
Charlie.
taken me the whole.
Biddly boo.
Bodily boodly. Right.
Okay, well then
let's have at her.
Okay, episode 19. This is 19. Are we on 19?
Yeah. Okay. So it was 18. Just came out.
Okay, so I said 17, but it was actually
on
18.
the episode. You said 17. It was 18.
Welcome back, everyone, to It's a Conspiracy. This is the podcast where we look at the beliefs behind selected conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. I'm your host, Andrew, and I do not claim to be an expert on anything we're going to discuss today, and will probably be wrong about everything as usual, because I was literally writing this right up until our Zoom chat started. That Zoom chat, oh boy. I'm glad we're almost at the end of this thing.
We'll see.
If you'd like to see where we dug up whatever meaty sweetbreads we're going to discuss today, then please check out the resources in the episode description. Charlie slaughters those lambs with the gentle touch of an old master.
Come here,
it's a sight to
lambs!
behold. I tell you, a sight to behold. Lastly, we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB.
Yay!
Yay, team. Yay. You can check us out online at our website, itsaconspiracypodcast.com. Our Twitter, at Is It a Conspiracy? That's run by the Irish Madman. Our Facebook group, the Instagram, It's a Conspiracy Podcast. That's run by Greg. Our email and our Patreon page, patreon.com/It's a Conspiracy. Joining the online distance time today is Charming Charlie. This muscular pile of testosterone will interject as he sees fit, and I appreciate the digital distance company. I am so glad we can do this together, even though it's in a weird format, and we are almost at the end of this madness, and maybe we can do the next one in real life with people and the smells together with joy between two men.
I love the smell of joy.
Yeah. The smell of man joy. That's nice. Now, righty then, Charlie, with a yes or no, can you tell me if you've heard of either of these theories?
Lay it on me.
Number one, what is Antifa?
Yes.
Number two, the Time Travelling Hipster.
No.
Okay. Number one, what is Antifa?
I thought it was pronounced Antifa.
Antifa or Antifa.
Antifa.
Yeah, however you say it, it stands for anti-fascist.
Yep.
So this is the movement which, as of yesterday, Trump announced via Twitter he would like to label as a terrorist group. Who, boy, are a group of people. They are a group of people, maybe, that have been said to, among other things, incite violence at protests. It's a hard thing to pin down. I'm not meaning to be whatever, but it's a hard thing to pin down, as the organization, maybe, does not officially have a leader, defined structures, membership roles, hierarchy, central location, etc. The members, maybe, of Antifa suggest that they have what is more along the lines of a philosophy and a certain approach, rather than like an organized brigade, a PAL squadron. That said, I'm not trying to say that the group doesn't exist. It's true that the individuals have identified themselves under the banner of Antifa and made themselves clearly known, recognizably known at a number of protests over the past few years. One massive example was the Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017. So these people do exist. They are not exclusive to America by any stretch. It's all kind of hard to pin down. The movement has been around in a variety of forms for years, but the popular concept began with the election in 2016. This was when the image of like face masks with the sunglasses, everybody's dressed in black, physical altercations, and the counter threats solidified under one Bruce banner. So who are the members of Antifa? It is impossible to say how many people would identify themselves as members of this movement, as the concept of belonging has not entirely been pinned down. The argument presented by supporters of this movement is, do you think fascism is okay? If not, then you are Antifa. So the overlap of similar movements is also truly mind-blowing because the only constant theme is that members oppose the proponents of the far right. So, these members, they don't really know who each other are necessarily outside of like, hey, you've also got a face mask on and we're at a riot together and we're going to punch somebody. Members will oppose violently, if need be, views that they see as fascist, authoritarian, homophobic, racist, xenophobic, etc. It's easy to see how things get blurry as someone could be an intense advocate for Black Lives Matter, healthcare, reproductive rights, indigenous land rights, the Occupy movement, and more along those lines, and yet at the same time not identify with Antifa. So they could be like, I'm protesting a homophobic bill, and you might not necessarily align yourself with Antifa even though you were doing something that they would do. Now, what are its goals? The goal is simple: to stop the far right. And that's where things get complicated. Does it mean that to stop their platform, stop their demonstrations, violently oppose anything they do, publicly shame them, punch every one of them, engage in dialogue, like have a healthy exchange? Like how do you stop the far right?
Right.
It is fair to say that the ultimate goal is the dropping of our self-defense on behalf of marginalized people, LGBTQ community, ethnic minorities, etc. And basically it's like, when that threat is gone, the mission is over. A number of people who identify as belonging to this movement are quick to point out that there is participation in peaceful forms of community organizing, and it is not all about violent reactions. However, the reaction of violence is not only necessary to combat the threat, completely warranted given what has or will happen if these fascist individuals are allowed to carry on. So what distinguishes Antifa from other protest groups? For starters, there is a uniform of sorts. Okay, they'll like dress all in black. They wear face masks, and they'll often wear sunglasses, something on their head maybe. And it's kind of, you don't want to say a uniform, but like that's become associated with them. And there is also underneath what makes them different from other protest groups is that there is an underlying philosophy of criticizing capitalism, dismantling authority, and reevaluating social structures like the police that we have put into power. A reporter based in California named, this is a great last name, I'm going to say it wrong, I'm positive, John Sepulvado.
Oh, Johnny.
He has been covering alt-right demonstrations over the past few years, and he has recorded a number of Antifa interventions at these events. He explained being conflicted on the issue as it is ultimately impossible to tell who is right and wrong when observing two groups of people violently clashing. So he's like, from my standpoint, they're all fighting each other. It's hard to say who the right guy is.
Sure.
Now, he also is very quick to point out the one important distinction. Antifa aren't the ones organizing these right-wing protests. They're just responding to them. So they wouldn't be there if there wasn't a protest.
Sure.
Anyways, that's Antifa in a nutshell. And Charlie, what do you got? What are you drinking there?
What are we drinking? What are we drinking? Well, I'm drinking Haymaker by Bent Stick Brewery. It's a wheated Pilsner. It's delicious.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, Andrew?
This has been my beer of choice during the whole pandemic. Well,
the whole one.
This has been one of my top beer choices during the pandemic. It is 5 of Diamonds Pilsner from the good people at Blind Man Brewing.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Fresh air, open spaces. Those were the doctor's orders to Mr. Len Thompson, returning from the First World War badly injured. He settled in the wild openness of the Great Plains right here in Lacombe, and still home to the famous fishing lure maker that carries his name. We hope you'll enjoy this beer and appreciate how lucky we are for the freedom to live that doctor's timeless advice. Fresh air, open spaces. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's real good. This is like a great summertime, it's hot outside, I need a beer kind of beer.
Hell yeah. I just had one of those. Actually, I had a couple of those just the other day.
Yeah.
Just
yesterday I had it's rainy outside, I'm going to have a beer kind of beer. So somehow there's a beer for every weather.
A beer for every weather, every flavor, every season.
Every season. And that is going to take us to ad number 1.
What on Earth Can We Do? Is a podcast produced by the Alberta Emerald Foundation. In this annual series, hosts Colleen and Gregory chat with Alberta's environmental leaders about hot topics like food waste, reusing and recycling, and more. While tackling ecological challenges as individuals can seem daunting, we can learn together how to answer the question, what on earth can we do? To listen and find out more, visit emeraldfoundation.ca/podcast.
All right, well, I'm very excited about this. We have a monster of the week from Mr. Charlie Scream.
Actually, this week, it's a little bit more. It's a little less of a monster of the week and a little bit more the mouse of the week. We're talking about hashtag Mousegate today.
You mentioned this. I thought you made a spelling mistake and you were talking about Mustache Gate.
No.
So Mousegate is a real thing.
Mousegate. I woke up
Mousegate
with this flooded on my feed this day, and I was very excited about it. So let's give it some context.
Okay.
Saturday, May 30th. I'm sure you were huddled around your little black and white television to watch the launch of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. Were you not?
Yes. I was watching some of it, yes.
You were absolutely there. It carried 2 NASA astronauts up to the International Space Station. And it's the first time since 2011 that a rocket ship has been launched into space carrying humans from U.S. soil. Pretty exciting, right? You're like,
that is pretty exciting.
How can this get any? We're going back. They're going back into space. It's great.
We're going into space.
Spaceman. Oh, first of all, Andrew, and I know I've said this one on here before, but Andrew, what do you do? What do you do when you see a spaceman?
I don't know.
You park, man. Anyways,
that's a very Cheech and Chong kind of joke, man.
I love that one. Apart from the 2 NASA astronauts, the spaceship allegedly had another uninvited guest aboard. And that guest was a mouse.
On the spaceship?
On the spaceship.
Oh, I love it.
But not inside the spaceship. On the outside of the spaceship. There's a video of the launch was shared on YouTube, and viewers are saying that the little thing moving around, that you can see a little something moving around in there, and they're saying that that's a mouse. Twitter account Beach Milk shared the bizarre video with the caption, "Looks like a mouse hitchhiked a ride on Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket launch today. The mouse showed a truly amazing ability to withstand heat." Now I feel like I should probably show you the clip.
I can't wait to see it.
Would be remiss not to.
Space mouse.
Space mouse.
Oh, wow. Mouse spotted on SpaceX rocket.
Okay.
Falcon 9 rocket launch.
While we're watching this, can you see where my cursor is on your screen?
Yes, I can.
So if I circle an area, you can see I'm okay. Now
I can see.
Watch around that area.
Okie doke. Oh, there's something there. Wow, that is
what they are saying is a mouse.
A space mouse.
A space mouse.
That poor little mouse, man. It's long dead now.
Since it came out, the clip has gone viral with other people sharing it on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Obviously, it's going all over the place. One lady said, "Barn girl here, walks like a mouse, talks like a mouse, looks like a mouse. It's a mouse. I knew the 11-second clip was odd. Mouse, mouse, mouse." Another Twitter user said, "Oh man, poor little guy, wonder how long he lasted. Maybe he held on till breakaway." Some people are saying that they've seen similar video used by SpaceX before and are accusing the aeronautical organization of reusing old video. And if you do a quick YouTube search for mouse on rockets or rocket mouse, rats over the rocket, and here, let me just show you another such, and this is a video from I think maybe 6 months prior, and we will post all of these videos on our social medias and in my notes.
Media.
Here's a completely different video, and if you keep watching the same area,
that really does look that. Okay, no, I was about to have an opinion on something.
You keep your opinions in your pocket, sir. Yep. So now you've seen the 2 videos.
Yep.
Now the big question is, I mean, some scientists are saying it's ice that's formed when the rocket was. Some people are saying it was ice that was formed on its way up, and then it was melting. Was it a mighty space mouse? Was it a regular mouse and this whole space launch was just a fraud? Was it just green screened and there was a regular mouse on set? Is space fake? If space is fake, should you go to buy the official Space is Fake t-shirt from www.oldmandesign.com, which is available now? You decide.
That's very subtle.
Space mouse.
Oh, man.
I love it.
That is very cool. And I do love that they're like, happened again.
This ain't the first space mouse.
Subject number 2, the Time Travelling Hipster.
Probably never heard of it. Do you guys have a vegan menu? Yeah, I'll take a PBR.
Yeah, I wouldn't say my art's very classifiable.
Hey, can I get a PBR? I don't know, I try to support local breweries. I'll take a PBR.
It's Bon Iver.
Not a hipster. I'll take a PBR. 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 Take a PBR.
A hipster traveling through time, taking pictures. In 2004, a picture from 1941. Charlie, do you remember 1941?
Vaguely.
Was put on display.
They say, if you remember 1941, you weren't really in 1941, were you?
You don't know how to 1941 if you remember it. Yeah. So it was a picture was put on display at the Barlorn Pioneer Museum for an exhibit called "The Past Lives Here." Almost immediately, a whole bunch of people on the interwebs pointed out that there is a person in one of the pictures who simply doesn't belong there. His clothes, hairstyle, sunglasses, etc. are all far too modern, and shockingly, he appears to be holding a camera. According to photography experts, the photograph had not been tampered with, and there was a genuine mystery on the loose. A time mystery. Apparently, a hipster, completely open with his appearance, traveled back to 1941 to take some pictures of a bridge opening in eastern Canada before heading back to the future. This is going to sound like I'm making up some weird sounds with my face.
Do it.
But websites like Fark, Boing Boing, and Forget Maury picked up on the phenomenon and republished the image with headlines such as "Proof of time traveler caught in 1940 photo." The idea was that the man in the photograph is a time traveler, took some pictures, totally open with his appearance, didn't hide at all, broke all the rules of time travel. He's like, I'm just going to go up in my new clothes and my new hair and whatever, my new sunglasses, and just walk amongst the people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, no one is paying him any mind whatsoever. So, Charlie, would you like to see a picture? Do you like pictures?
Boy, howdy.
You're going to have to able me here. Can you able my sharing?
You can do it, Andrew. You can do it.
Thank you, Charles, for
I believe in
abling.
you.
I appreciate that. Your support means the world. Okay, here we go. So, does a photograph capture a time-traveling hipster? So here's the picture here. Can you see it?
Sort of.
So this is our time-traveling hipster right here.
Okay.
And you can see it's like fedoras and suits and like those like watches that in your pocket and people that grew up in the Depression. Yeah. So this is the whole thing. And he's right there. If you look, he's got like a silk screen shirt on and he's holding a fancy camera.
Now, it's a little bit small, but what kind of camera?
It's a little bit out of place.
School, like point and click, or like, do you mean like an iPhone type camera?
Well, that's the picture, the thing. So we're going to get to the bottom of this mystery in a second here, but you can see those are his hands there. I've got my cursor moving.
Yep, I see.
And he is holding something that at least looks like a camera. Looks like an old-fashioned point and click, old-fashioned in that something that, you know, if you hired someone to take pictures at your wedding, that you would want them to show up with a camera like that.
Developed.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so that's the picture then. Pretty exciting stuff. This caused a worldwide sensation. Everyone's like, oh, there's a time-traveling hipster. And then in the wake of that, there was like a whole slew of people being like, I found, like Nicolas Cage in like an old painting. And it set up a whole trend of people from like the future being caught in old photographs. Very, very cool stuff.
Love it. That's it. Wait,
that's the theory of the time-traveling hipster. That's going to take us to ad number 2.
Dose. The Edmonton Community Foundation. The foundation acts as a bridge between donors and charities to create a strong, vibrant community for generations to come. You can start an endowment fund yourself or with a group. Once it reaches $10,000, it can start distributing funds. Learn more at ecfoundation.org.
Okay, now really quick here before we get to opinion time. What are we binging? What are you currently binging?
Hey, Andrew, I'll tell you what I'm binging. We just finished watching season 1 of Space Force.
Oh, wow. How was it?
It was all right.
Okay.
It didn't blow my mind. It was all right.
Like I love Steve Carell. Okay, so sorry, give me your feelings on it.
It was pretty great. I liked a bunch of it. I liked Steve Carell, and John Malkovich is in it, and he's great.
Yeah.
And also, it's one of the last performances of Fred Willard.
Isn't that sad?
Ooh, it's so sad, but he's so good.
Yeah.
So good in it.
I think he finished the entire season.
Yeah, he did. But I thought it was pretty fun. It's pretty fun, and I was watching, or after we finished watching it, I went on the internet, as one does, to completely just zombie out and read everything about the season and see what people think about it and all that kind of stuff, as I'm sure everybody does about everything they watch, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And a lot of critics were kind of against it. And the funny thing, that's kind of funny to me because I'm pretty sure these are largely American critics. So I'm wondering if they're maybe at all sensitive because it doesn't really show the American government in a really great light.
You mean someone would actually ridicule the current American government?
I mean,
is there ammunition of some kind that you could use to make fun of these people?
I mean, if only there was some topic of discussion that, but I think it's a fun watch, and I think there's some fun characters and some pretty good jokes in there. So,
all right, on
Space Force.
I have been, what are we binging? I have is a show called History 101 on Netflix. It's a relatively new series, 2020, and it's all like nerdy, segments in history. They do things like the history of fast food and like how fast food changed over, basically it's like a couple of decades in history where it's changed with consumer demand, where people are like, they're just going to, feed us whatever they want and we don't have any control over it. And then the show demonstrates how it's like, all of a sudden everybody has like a Beyond Meat burger and like apple slices and all that kind of stuff at these places. The portions have gotten smaller, and it's an interesting sort of look at supply and demand. Right. So that was that one episode, but I just really like that one. It's been a really cool series so far, and the one that I'm on right now is robots. And I just love that they talk about I don't know if you know this, Charlie, but there are over 9 million robots, like independent robots on Earth right now.
And they have jobs and they're working?
They have jobs. Well, stuff like
families?
I'm just an arm and I put the shield on a tank and I'm a little computer and
a robot person.
Yeah. If you wave an avocado in front of me, I can tell you how much it costs. That's on the terms of hierarchy of like cool robots to like kind of lame robots.
Avocado pricer. I can only do avocado.
My defense of this is always like, you got your nerdy robots, you've got like your C-3PO who's like, oh I'm gonna fall down and I twisted my ankle.
1,000 million languages.
Yeah, and then you've got Ed 209 who's like blasting people to pieces with these huge guns, and he makes like tiger noises like and it's like, why does he get to be a cool robot?
Why didn't they give him
and like could if C-3PO was like, I want to be a cooler robot. Like, could they just outfit him with something like that? Like, anyways. And there is a standard for that, because in Attack of the Clones, that's when C-3PO's head gets taken off and put on like a battle droid's body, and he's like, I don't know, I'm not in control anymore. I'm so bloody sorry that I'm killing you all. And the battle droid's like, yeah. Attack of the Clones, real low point in the prequel trilogy. That's okay. If Greg's not here, we can talk about it. And that is going to take us to opinion time.
Opinion time, opinion time. Hey everybody, it's opinion time.
So real quick here, what was our first, Charlie, do you remember what our first theory was?
We were talking about Antifa.
Antifa. Andrew, do you remember what the monster of the week was? And it was Space Mouse.
Squeaky.
To infinity and beyond. Charlie, do you remember our second theory tonight.
Hipster Billy on the street goes back in time to take pictures.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess, do you have any thoughts on Antifa?
I just
I'm supposed to start nice and light. Just
keep it easy. I like how you started with this.
Not political at all. Just just fluffy stuff.
I think it's wild that the current administration has decided to make a terrorist organization out of something that's not really a super solid organization, from what I understand of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's go fight the shadows. Let's go get those invisible people. They definitely do show up sometimes, for sure, but it's not like they are paying dues at a social house or anything like that.
Yeah, like it does obviously have like members that identify this way, but it's not like an organized thing.
They don't have like logbooks or anything like that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Or a base of operations. I mean, maybe they do, I'm not sure, but
yeah. So
I believe in them. I believe that they do exist, that there are people who, go out to these things dressed in those uniforms and do that stuff and, fight for the rights and things.
What do you think about the statement that like you have to be black or white, 1 or 0 binary, no room for anything? But what do you think about the statement that the guy was saying where it's like it's hard to tell who the good and the bad are when you just see a big group of people like fighting each other? I mean, does that make sense?
So was it these guys, was it Antifa who were the ones who started the whole thing about punching Nazis?
Yep. That's one of their main, that really got them.
That's one of their things, right?
That's not necessarily Antifa, but that's something that they would do because they're like, if you see a Nazi, go punch him out.
Sure.
And there was some university speaker that was like canceled and was getting threats, and they're like, if we see you, we're going to beat you up. And so he pulled out of this speech.
But in that case, is that not a violence begets violence sort of a situation where if you are throwing the first stone, then how are you not expecting stones to be thrown back at you, right? So therefore, both sides are guilty if you're fighting, right? I mean, obviously, if someone is attacking you, you have to defend yourself. That makes sense.
Yeah, and their philosophy is we don't like what you believe in, and it's the mentality that they like. They're saying that the fascist mentality inevitably leads to violence, so we're like using violence to stop it before it gets to violence.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like it starts with people getting together, and the next thing you know, like
let the seeds before it turns into a flower.
Yeah. And in that sense, it's like yikes, because there's
that's a pretty slippery slope, I think.
That's a slippery slope. That's a very, very slippery.
Who are you to make the decisions about the things that haven't exactly happened yet?
But at the same time, if this is why it's such a gray area, because it's hard to be like, if somebody's like, I'm going to violently protest whatever, this, like they get this like rally for like homophobia, and they're like, something real nasty like that. And they're like, we're going to march and protest this thing against a marginalized group of people. You feel it in your heart. You're like, I want to stop that. And you can sort of have a fantasy of being like, I'd love to punch every one of those guys.
You want to fight the evil. It's just the way to do it without crossing the line and then ending up on the other side of the line in your own way.
Yeah. And it's funny because this is amazing. You and I can have this conversation. But if you and I tried to have this conversation on like a social media platform of some kind,
I wouldn't
people
dare.
would be jumping in and like, oh, I know, right? And yeah, it's a very loaded subject. I was at a protest against a group in Edmonton, and some friends who were being directly affected by these guys were like, why don't you come with us? And I said, okay, I'm going to go. There was an Antifa guy there, and I'd never seen one of these people in real life, but he showed up. He was this huge guy, like had to be like 6'4". So he had like the mask, sunglasses, and he had these like kind of like you see bouncers at nightclubs and stuff like that wearing those gloves that have like the things on their knuckles and stuff like that. Right. He had those on, and when these Sons of Odin guys showed up, I saw him like put his gloves on, and he was like, okay. And he didn't do anything, but he was ready to like, sure. And I kept thinking like, I want to go talk to that guy and be like, don't do anything. Like we'll just be there, and our presence will be enough for these people to just go home. Like there's no reason to punch anyone but he was there to crack some skulls. And I'm making a lot of assumptions about him, but he was clearly geared up to like bust some heads. And it was scary. Like, I was just like, what if you got the wrong guy? Like, what if... Anyways, that was, yeah. So my own little tiny brush at those guys, but the thinking of like 100 people with that mentality, like, be real bad. Okay, so Mousegate.
Hashtag.
Yeah, I gotta say this. I think the reason I love this theory, I love that there's a stowaway mouse. The fact that it happened and it looked identical both times, I think it's probably because there's some kind of piece of machinery on that part of the vehicle, like that part of the spaceship that happens to look like a mouse. Like when it's operating, it's flying through the atmosphere, it's doing something very strange, and that weird fluid movement of it scurrying around like that. I know it looks like a mouse, but it looked identical both times, and it even moved like in the same kind of W pattern. And it's like, that's, if it does it every time, like once is weird, but that it did it twice.
So you're saying is that you are so sure that it's not like a matter of it, that it's a green screen effect, and maybe they're just in a barn in Wisconsin somewhere.
Yeah,
they've got a big spaceship just set up as a set, and maybe they're just just faking it, just like they faked the moon landing. Sure,
Charlie just pulled up his oldmandesign.com products space is fake page, and I can buy with GPay. That's fantastic. That's great. I should go get some right now. Yeah, no, I like what you're saying, and I agree, but I think this is one of those things where people are like, space, it's got to be, and I know there's some weird people involved and there's some shady stuff going on. It's like, we're going to give you the internet. And we're going to put 60,000 satellites in the sky. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Just don't ask any questions. But yeah, no, I think it was real. I think they really went into space. And I think that part is a piece of the machine. Yeah.
The part that I think is actually, like, if you ask me which one of those theories is the legit one, I would say that it's probably the ice theory, that going up
or it's something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then as it melts and burns off, gets caught in the ring, and then it looks like it's a mouse running around.
Or something that looks like ice. Like it could be, there's all kinds of weird gases coming out of those things, and maybe like the gas takes on some kind of solid form when it hits the upper atmosphere, and it rattles around like a big ice cube, like on your windshield when you're driving, and it looks like a mouse scurrying around.
When I'm often like, hey, get that mouse off my windshield. Get off of there, mouse. Can't ride on the outside of the car.
Okay, now number 2, I for our second theory here, do you have any thoughts about the time traveling hipster?
I think it's Billy on the Street. Do you know Billy on the Street?
I do.
Emmy nominee Billy Eichner.
Billy Eichner?
Eichner, yeah, that's what I said.
That's a great last name. I don't know who this person is, but that's phenomenal. Did you just make that up now, or is that a real person?
He looks like.
Wow, that does look exactly like the time traveling hipster.
Exactly, that is him, and he's known for these kind of television shows where he goes out on the streets and he chases people down. He chases down random people. He often has a celebrity in tow with him, and he chases them down. He's like, hey, come here. Do you know who this is? I'll give you $100 if you can tell me who this is. And then the person doesn't know.
It's Bob Newhart.
Now take that formula. And add in a splash of time travel. just a splash of time travel.
Just a dash.
Takes him back to 1941, where he's like, these people will not, because nowadays it gets harder and harder to sell that bit because it's become popular enough that people are expecting it. If someone runs up to you on the street, you're like, oh, you're that guy. I've seen this show, but they certainly haven't seen it in 1941.
No, it'd be a shocker then, for sure.
Billy on the Street in 1941 is a new HBO production.
Okay. I guess that's okay.
Anyways, what do you got?
Well, I had to look it up on the Snopes, on the Snopes.com, and there's a few things that have to be pointed out here. So people are like, his bloody T-shirt, his small portable camera, his wraparound sunglasses, it's proof. The truth is that silkscreen T-shirts were available at the time. The shirt that he was wearing with the M.
At first, I thought it was a Batman symbol.
That's from. It kind of looks like a Batman thing. Yeah. It's an M, and it's a very early hockey team from 1924 to 1938 called the Montreal Maroons.
Oh, what a maroon!
Yeah, but just a bloody maroon. Now, the small portable camera. There was a camera that was available here is a Kodak. So the final nail in this time traveler's coffin comes to us courtesy of Kodak. While many viewers assume that the camera the man is holding is simply too small to have existed in the 1940s, Kodak did in fact make several portable cameras that were available in 1941, such as the following. It's got a nice Kodak 35. Look at that. Look at how awesome that is. Yeah. My dad was a photographer, and he had a camera like this, and I just remember like wanting to play with it as a kid, and him being like, "You touch that, and I'll break your fingers." Oh yeah, so yeah, super cool. Arms. I'll break all your arms. He didn't say that, but
what we're thinking is the guy was really just like a legitimate hipster, but in 1941.
He was a hipster before it was cool. Yeah,
exactly. Absolutely. He's a hipster's hipster.
That's a real hipster. And ultimately, the sunglasses he's wearing here. So if you look at these neat little glasses with like the thing that so people can't see your eye when they're looking at you from the side, which is always gross. If you see someone with sunglasses on and you see them from the side profile, and you can see the bulge of their eye almost touching the lens of the sunglasses.
Well, then I would say
gross you out.
You're probably pretty close to them at that point. Why are you so close to this person?
Yeah, there's just something about eyes touching lenses, and you've got glasses on, so you're used to.
They don't touch my eyeballs.
Ugh.
They say stay a safe distance.
Social distance. So here's an example of a pair of glasses that were available in 1940s. These are actually pretty cool looking. They remind me of Dr. Octopus, Spider-Man 2, sort of.
They got
I'll
that
tear the meat from her bones.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah. Snap, 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 snap. Yeah. That was such a great scene. Oh. Yeah, so I think that the time traveling hipster was actually just some like legit, like you said, like an actual.
He's the most legit hipster because he's not he's not trying to be a hipster. He's just like, look, I like this fucking hockey team. Sunglasses look dope, and I like to take cool pictures of things.
Yeah,
fuck off, man. You don't know me.
Yeah, and that is exactly what it was. So it's funny. Yeah, so he was a real thing. So he was a hipster. I guess it's 1/3 correct. The theory was he a time traveling hipster. It's like he wasn't time traveling, but he was a hipster.
Legitimate hipster. The hippest hipster in Hipland.
Oh, well, slap me sideways and call me Susan. Wasn't that a camera full of film and pleasant?
You bet it was, Susan.
It sure was. Thank you. We really do appreciate you stopping by for a listen, and please feel free to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your neighbor, tell your foes, spread the good word.
Go back to 1941 and tell them.
Oh, totally. That'd be great.
They'd love it.
It'd be like, in 70 years, there's this medium that makes no sense, but you're going to love it. You can check out all of our past casts and social media stuff at itsconspiracypodcast.com. And we will be back later in June for our Father's Day episode. And then after that is our final with the Conspies. So we're almost there. Pretty fun stuff. Conspies. I know. It's a good time. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you're doing okay. I know we're still in the middle of this COVID thing, and hopefully,
hold on though.
We'll be okay.
Hang in there, baby.
Yeah, Charlie, you and your house are okay.
Yes, me and my house are okay.
Okay, my house and I are also.
Are you also doing well in the bunker on the farm?
I haven't come out of the basement in 14 weeks, but
you're starting to look like the people under the stairs.
Anyways, thank you so much for listening, and please take care.
Bye. Peace, Mouse.